Prabhuji, we can start, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji. Yes. Okay. So Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Dandot Pranam, Mataji's Dandot Pranam. We'll start a small kirtan. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara वृन्दावनारम्यस्थान दिव्यचिन्तामणिधाम रतनामन्दिरमनोहारा अभ्रताकालिन्दिनीरे राजाहंस किलिकारे ताहे शोभे कनककमाला वृन्दावनारम्यस्थान दिव्यचिन्तामणिधाम रतनामन्दिरमनोहर तारामज्जे हेमापीठ अष्टदले बेष्टित अष्टदले प्रधानानायिका तारामज्जे हेमापीठ अष्टदले बेष्टित अष्टदले प्रधानानायिका तारामध्य रत्नासाने बसियाছে দুই জানে শ্যামা সঙ্গে সুন্দরী রাধিকা তারামধ্যে রত্নাসানে বসিয়াছে দুই জানে শ্যামা সঙ্গে সুন্দরী রাধিকা वृन्दावनारम्यस्थान दिव्यचिन्तामणिधाम रतनामन्दिरमनोहारा ओरूपालावण्यरासि आमिया परिचे कासि हास्य परिहास सम्भाषणे ओरूपालावण्यरासि आमिया परिचे कासि हास्य परिहास सम्भाषणे नरोत्तमा दशा कोई नित्य लीला सुखामोई सदाई स्फुरुक मोरमाने नरोत्तमा दशा कोई नित्य लीला सुखामोई सदाई स्फुरुक मोरमाने वृन्दावनारम्यस्थान दिव्यचिन्तामणिधाम रतनामन्दिरमनोहारा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल Hare Krishna. So we'll go quickly through the prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नस्तप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। श्री गुरु तारण विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु। हरे कृष्णा। So, Prabhuji's Mataji's Dandot Pranam. I'm fortunate to have Lilananda Prabhuji also today, at least for few minutes. I know he has a session to take care at 7:30.
हरे
At least
कृष्ण
for
प्रभु
few
दंडवत
minutes,
प्रणाम।
I have his association. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for attending. So, Guru Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji, for coming to the session. Hare Krishna, thank you.
कृष्ण प्रभु।
So, today the topic that was given to me is Ambarish Maharaj offended by Durvasa Muni. Actually, the title, what it shows and what we go today is only a trailer, Prabhuji. So mostly I will show the trailer and the next Prabhuji will take over the main cinema. So it's a very, very short one and very simple one, very few shlokas. So before we really go into that Ambarish Maharaj, who is Ambarish Maharaj, where is he coming from, what is his lineage, we'll just try to have a small background of that complete story. So basically, there is Manu's son who was actually called Nabhaga, and his son name is Nabhaga. Okay, so we all know we all have 14 Manus, and there are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma, right? That means one Kalpa of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. And can anyone tell Prabhuji and Mataji's which Manu is currently ruling, which number?
विवस्वत मनु प्रभु.
Correct, correct, Prabhuji. Seventh Manu, yeah. So in one kalpa of Brahma, there are 14 manvantras, and each manvantara is ruled by one Manu, right? And each manvantara is lasting approximately 306.72 million years, million human years to be very precise. Right? The current Manu is Vaivasvita Manu, and he actually is glorified in one of the Bhagavad Gita shlokas also. I mean, he not him directly, but he is actually the son of the sun god, Vivaswan. And he is glorified in one of the shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. I think we all know pretty well, right? Shloka 4.1. Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavam Aham Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manuriksha Kave Abravit. So this is clearly, it is Krishna is telling that he has given this first knowledge to the sun god, right? So that sun's god, sun is Vaivasvita. Sun god, sun is Vaivasvita Manu. Now that Manu's son is Nabhaga and his son name is Nabhaga. So we have to clearly differentiate this. Nabhaga is the son of Manu and his son name is Nabhaga. Now who is Ambarish Maharaj? He is the son of Nabhaga. So that is where the lineage is coming from. And what the story goes around like this, Prabhuji. So Nabhagas actually, so his brothers tried to cheat him. How? Because Nabhaga, he went for a really, really long term in the Gurukula because he has to complete his Brahmacharya studies. And he really went into long term. And then his brothers thought that he becomes probably like a monk, he's more spiritual. He doesn't need this any material wealth. Okay, so what did they do? His brothers, they divided their father's property equally among them. Okay, but they did not leave any share to Nabhaga. So what happened actually, he returned from Gurukula after a certain time. Okay. But then, when he asked his brothers, okay, what is about my property? What is my share? And then, the eldest of the sons, he told them that, okay, no, you get our father as your share. He was actually quite happy. He was quite happy because he is completely spiritual, and to have a father as a share is actually big blessing. So from his point of view, he's quite happy. Then he goes to his father and he tells to his father, Father, this is what my brothers told me. But his father advises, no, something is wrong. I cannot become your property. So your brothers are cheating you. But then, he advises his son Abhaga, to go and assist the sages. Okay, who are those sages that we will see in the coming shloka? And Nabhaga received, so Nabhaga actually he goes and assists the sages and he receives some wealth from them. And Lord Shiva actually puts some test. Okay, what is the test and how the test goes on, we will see in the shlokas. And finally, from Nabhaga, after doing so many spiritual activities, he is blessed with a very, very spiritual person, Ambarish Maharaj, who is actually, the core point of our story today. Right? And we already know this story very clearly that, what is Ambarish Maharaj, why is he so popular? So, to give you again a quick overview, so though we don't touch this part of the story today, but to give the complete picture, Ambarish Maharaj is a very, very pious person. He along with his team observes Ekadasi and almost every Ekadasi he worships Krishna, and then, he never skips the Ekadasi. He goes for fasting. And he's such a spiritual person. He gives charity of 60 crores of decorated cows to Brahmanas. 60 crores of cows. In those days, that is how, the pompously they really celebrate any spiritual events. And he worshipped always Krishna with complete opulence because he is the king. He is the king of the complete planet. So he is completely rich. So he worshipped Krishna with complete opulence, with so much of richness. He celebrates always Krishna and with complete devotion. So we all should understand, this richness and opulence and devotion. Normally, they cannot go together. That's what people believe. But of course, our scriptures show there are plenty of examples like this, where opulence and devotion can also go together. Now, then what happens? The real turning point comes here. So there enters our Durvasa Muni. On the next day of Ekadasi, Dwadasi, he enters, and he comes as a guest to Ambarish Maharaj, and then he goes to take the bath in the Yamuna. But then what happens? The time comes where he has to he has to break the fast, Ambarish Maharaj. But what happens? Durvasa Muni doesn't come. He still delays, purposefully he delays. But then what happens? Because he has to break the fast, Ambarish Maharaj, he consult his ministers, and then they advise him, telling that, okay, you can sip water. Just because you have to break the fast, you are not actually eating, you have to wait for the Muni. But just by sipping water, you break the fast. At the same time, you don't eat anything. This is okay. So as per the advice, Ambarish Maharaj, he sips water. But then this comes to know by Durvasa Muni. He still doesn't come back. But there itself, while taking the bath, he comes to know that, he did not wait for him. So Durvasa Muni immediately became very furious and he created a fiery demon out of his powers. And this demon started hunting Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj is not at all scared. But then, our great Supreme Lord, who is actually most dearest to all the devotees, he immediately released the Sudarshan Chakra because Ambarish Maharaj is someone who is the most pious and he follows regulative principles. He follows, all the spiritual activities very, very nicely. And such a person, if he's under, attack, obviously a Supreme Lord will definitely come and take care of him, right? So, Sudarshan Chakra is released to destroy the demon. In fact, it destroys the demon. But then did it leave it there? No, it doesn't leave there. Sudarshan Chakra continues to haunt Durvasa Muni also. Now, Durvasa Muni, see, he's a very, very big Muni, but he cannot do anything now. Because that is coming, Sudarshan Chakra is directly the weapon of the Supreme Lord, right? So he cannot do anything. Now, Durvasa Muni started running away. So he knows that the Sudarshan Chakra is, the weapon of Lord Vishnu. He cannot go to Vishnu directly. So he first tries to take the shelter of Brahma. Brahma says, sorry, I cannot do anything. And then he then goes to Shiva. He thinks that Shiva can help him. But the Shiva also says, hey, what you try to do, do you understand what you try to do? You try to, kill the most dearest devotee of, Vishnu. So you did a big offense. So I cannot save you. So then finally, he has no other place but to go to, Vaikunta to submit himself to the Lord Narayan. But Lord Narayan, what he says? See, I cannot help you because, he is bound by the devotees, right? Narayan is actually bound by the devotees. He is most dearest to the devotees. And then he says, I cannot excuse you, but there is only one way that can save you. What is that? You go and beg for forgiveness to Ambarish Maharaj. Then he is the one actually who can forgive you. Prabhuji and Matas, this is a very, very familiar story to all of us. The story goes like this. And, let's go into the shlokas. Anything not clear, Professor Mathas? Is everything okay? Could you hear me properly? Because this is a new setup here. I don't know if everything is okay. I don't have internet also. I'm connecting through my phone. Is it audible? Everything okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, very nice. Okay. So again, all are very, very simple shlokas. There is nothing much actually for explanation also, but I will try my best to see if anything, relevant that I can give a little bit more elaborate explanation. So, Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.1 Shri Sukha Uvacha Nabhago Nagapatyam Yam Tatam Prataraha Kavim Yavishtam Vyabhajandayam Brahmacharinam Agatam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sukadeva Goswami said, the son of Nabhaga, named Nabhaga, lived for a long time at the place of his spiritual master. Therefore, his brothers thought that he was not going to become a Grihastha and would not return. Consequently, without providing a share for him, they divided the property of their father among themselves. When Nabaga returned from the place of his spiritual master, they gave him their father as his share. As I told you, Professor Mataji. So when Nabaga was actually offered his father as a share, he was in fact quite happy, very, very happy. Because that is how a spiritual person thinks. What is a big blessing more than having parents, to take care? So he was very, very happy. Actually, the essence of shloka, if we carefully understand, his brothers actually, deceitfully excluded him from paternal inheritance while he is returning from brahmacharya studies. This opening verse established the theme of material cheating. It's a material cheating, right? The property is material cheating versus spiritual proprietorship through parampara guidance. So, what is the parampara guidance that we will see in the next shloka? And Prabhupada has explained this as a classic demonstration of material family members. In our Kali Yuga, especially, we see that the brothers fight for the property. Even in our family, also, I had seen my father's family, they had big, big fights for the properties. And Prabhupada is clearly illustrating this as a classic demonstration, this story especially to our family members, and who cheats, and then finally the spiritual aspirants, how they can actually benefit, who is actually returning from austerity, who can actually benefit to get that, properties back. Normally, I never believed in asking, like, spiritual or doing some spiritual activities to get some material achievements. I never believed in it. Of course, in my childhood, we were always going to the temples, requesting God that, okay, I have to get a class first, or I should be the class topper, or I should get a gold medal. But once I came to Krishna consciousness, I stopped it completely, especially after Lilananda Prabhuji told, this is not, we are not doing any business with God. I completely stopped. But then, again, when I was yesterday, last night, when I was reading through the shlokas, I again felt right. See, there are certain spiritual activities that we can also do to get some material benefits. Maybe, it's not purely to get bonding to that material achievement, but, we should always understand that there are certain spiritual activities we can still perform to get some material achievements also. Now, so Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, 44 sloka, Swadharma nirataha santireva jayate swadharme nadigachati na param swadharme lidyate. So he says that by fulfillment of one's own duties, one achieves peace. So why are we discussing this sloka? Because Nabhaga has fulfilled his duty. What was his duty? To perfectly finish his brahmacharya studies and then to come back. So, by doing one's own duties, one achieves peace. But if we try to do another duties, okay, then can we achieve peace? It's not possible. So, Krishna tells the same in Bhagavad Gita also. Do your duty. You are born. Hare Krishna. Someone speaking something? Okay. So if you are born as a Kshatriya, you do your duty as a Kshatriya. You are born as a Shudra, you do your duty as a Shudra. You don't try to imitate the other duty. For example, you are born as a Kshatriya, but you try to act as a Shudra. Or you born as a Shudra, you try to act as a Kshatriya. That doesn't work. That doesn't give peace. So you do your own duty and that gives peace. That's Krishna clearly says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, sloka 44. Now, in the next slokas, upcoming Prabhuji and Matajis, you clearly see how the spiritual austerity yields divine protection and true inheritance beyond material family cheatings. That's what I told. When there are really like family material cheatings, then how the spiritual austerity really helps, how the divine really takes care to protect you. And we can also understand that the Krishna's arrangement guides us or guides the sincere devotees through apparently worldly losses also. This we are going to see in the upcoming slokas. Sloka 9.4.2 Bhrataro bhakta kim mahyam bhajama pitaram tava tvam amaryas tata bhangsur ma putragatad tat adrataha. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nabhaka inquired, my dear brothers, what have you given to me as my share of our father's property? His elder brother answered, we have kept our father as your share. But when Nabhaka went to his father and said, my dear father, my elder brothers have given you as my share of property. The father replied, my dear son, Do not rely upon their cheating words. I am not your property. So father very nicely is telling, see, I cannot become your property. Your brothers are cheating you. Try to understand this. So Nabaga father reveals his brother's deceitful plan to exclude him from inheritance, right? They're trying to cheat him. So this verse, actually there is really nothing much to explain here, but if you understand, this verse demonstrates the compassionate parental guidance. As a parent, he's doing his duty to guide him in proper way to so that he can resolve the familiar, family injustice that is happening. Hare Krishna. Am I the only one who is hearing something, or
No, Prabhuji, nothing is coming in the background.
Prabhuji? Sorry.
Nothing is coming in the background.
Okay, okay. Suddenly I hear someone talking. Maybe here somewhere outside. Sorry, Prabhuji. Let me close the door. Here it's still some working area is there. Okay. Okay. So Prabhupada actually here exposes this as a classic materialistic cheating under religious pretext. Why I say the religious pretext? Actually, they assumed that he would probably become a brahmachari. After so long time spending in his brahmacharya, these brothers assumed that he would become probably like a monk. He may not really come into a grihastha ashram. So for a non-grihastha, why does he need a property? So that is what a pretext. It's like a religious pretext. But actually, that's not really a fair way of dealing with the family matters, right? So then Srila Prabhupada, he also teaches, a genuine family dharma here. Through this story, he also teaches us a dharma, how as a parent, how a parent need to take care, even someone is going spiritually, one of the family members, how as a parent we need to take care, how, the justice need to be done equally to all the kids. And Prabhupada clearly emphasizes here, the elders' role, especially one more important takeaway from this story is as an elder normally in South India for elders there is not that much, not every family really respects the elders. Lilananda Prabhuji also several times told, we have very, very old people and we criticize them telling that, hey, నీకెందుకు వెళ్ళి కూర్చో అక్కడ. We simply ignore them. Sometimes we, in fact, so much we blaspheme them. But I have seen, especially in North India, Professor Matajis, this is not to differentiate between North and South, but this is my personal experience. For the very elder people, they respect a lot. I've seen some families where if the elder is sitting on the sofa, the other people they don't even dare to sit on the sofa. They sit on the floor only. Even though they are like directors, MDs, CEOs, but they sit only on the floor when the elder is sitting on the sofa. That much how they respect the elders. So Prabhupada here also clearly emphasizes that as an elder, it's not that you just get the respect, but you also have to take the responsibility to protect your kids, right? And Prabhupada here also he is quoting something very, very nice. He's telling that the qualities exhibited by the other brothers, they are like demonic qualities. And there is a clear reference here to Bhagavad Gita again. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 sloka 4, it says, Dambaha darpamba manascha krodaha parushyam evacha ajnanam cha bichadasya parda sampadam asurim. So he says there are certain qualities if a person exhibits, those qualities are like the demonic qualities. What are those qualities? Pride, arrogance. This is mine. Who are you? I am the, company CEO. This is like arrogance, pride, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. All these qualities are actually demonic qualities. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. So now here Prabhupada is also explaining that the type of characteristics that are exhibited by the brothers, those are like the demonic qualities, right? Shloka 3. इमे अंगिरासः सत्रम् आसते अद्य सुमेधसः सास्तं सास्तं सास्थं सस्थम् उपेत्यादः कवे मुह्यन्ति कर्मणि. Nabaga's father said, all the descendants of Angira are now going to perform a great sacrifice. But although they are very intelligent, on very sixth day they will be bewildered in performing sacrifice and will make mistakes in their daily duties. So, Professor Mataji, anyone knows who is Angira? Angira's descendants. Who is Angira? Anyone know? So, Angira is one of the Saptarshis. So, one of the great sages. And here, as a responsible father, what Nabaga is doing is guiding his son Nabaga because he's understood clearly that he's getting cheated by his own sons. So he told, "Go and perform the Angira and his descendants." So Angira is the Saptarshi, but his descendants, it's not Angira, but his descendants are going to perform a great sacrifice. Go and help them. And why? If you go and help them in the ritual, probably, sorry, they will also help you. The remnants of the yajna, probably they will be giving to you. So go and help them. And why help them? Because here, my understanding, Professor Mataji, is sixth day has got no significance really. But here, like, how we say in Telugu also, నలుగురు మనుషులు కావాలి, నలుగురు ఉంటే బాగుంటుంది. How we use that four as a very colloquial word, just like that he said. On the sixth day here refers to that, even though those are coming from the day, great descendants of Angira, still they do some mistakes in performing rituals. So in performing the sacrifice, if you go and help them, probably you will get some benefit. That is how, as a father, he tried to guide his son, right? So Shloka for 9.4.4 and also 5 here. Tamstam samsaya sukti deva वैश्वदेव महात्मनः तेवे स्वर्यन्तो धननं सत्र परेशिस्तम् आत्मनः दास्यन्ति ते अथ तन् अर्चा तथा स कत्तवान् यथा तस्मै दत्त्वा ययुः स्वर्गं ये सत्र परेशेषणम्. Nabaga's father continued, "Go to those great souls and describe two Vedic hymns pertaining to Vaishwadeva. When the great sages have completed the sacrifice and are going to the heavenly planets, they will give you the remnants of the money they have received from the sacrifice. Therefore, go there immediately." Thus, Nabaga acted exactly according to the advice of his father, and the great sages of the Angira dynasty gave him all their wealth and then went to the heavenly planets. So here there is something interesting which we probably, at least I have never heard before. Vaishwadeva. Who is Vaishwadeva? Or what is actually this term Vaishwadeva? Anyone knows again, Professor Mataji? Who might have read previously this Bhagavatam, who knows it? Okay. So Nabaga's father actually instructing to recite specific Vaishwadeva hymns, actually to satisfy the sages. And what is Vaishwadeva? Vaishwadeva is actually a household ritual. Just like, any morning we get up, we say we open our hands, we say some prayers, we touch the floor, we say some prayers. Before taking the bath, we touch water and we say some prayer. This is like a household ritual, okay? So Vaishwadeva is also like a household ritual, especially, performed by the householders to honor the devatas and express gratitude before meals, especially before taking meals. Okay, they do this prayer called Vaishwadeva prayer or household ritual. Okay, and the main deity is actually like a set of deities, set of devatas, and the main deity here is the Agni Deva. Why Agni Deva? Because he is the one who carries the offerings to the divine realms, right? So that is why the main deity here is the Agni Deva. So Vaishwadeva is a household ritual, basically, or it can also be termed as a group of deities or a group of devatas. So what is actually Nabaga is telling? Okay, go and help them. Okay, and once the yajna is done, the sacrifice is done, they probably will go to the heavenly planets, and whatever the money that is collected. Normally, what happens when we do a yajna? There are many people coming. You invite 2 weeks before we had a Narsimha Homam here. So many people come and also they have donated little money from their side also, to support in that home. So similarly, in that yajna, many people come and they do their share also. So when so many people are doing, small amounts, but on a lump sum, it will be a huge money. And Nabaga is telling that if you go and assist them, probably you will also get, a share of that money. And he immediately, what Nabaga said, he immediately respected his father. He did not hesitate, but whatever father said, he immediately listened to him. Right? That is the beauty of this year. So Srila Prabhupada is telling this is perfectly the Varnashrama Dharma. Why it is called Varnashrama Dharma? Because in the Varnashrama Dharma, he is respecting actually the elders' guidance, and through Shastra exactly is following the rightful spiritual, path to get that wealth. Beyond, he is actually trying to get cheated by his brothers, but his father is guiding him to give him the spiritual wealth beyond the material cheating. So Prabhupada highlights the generosity, that is reflected by his pure devotee's nature. Sharing Krishna's remnants elevates the giver and the receiver, right? Because, when he is going and assisting in the yajna, and who is actually the beneficiary of any yajna? Krishna only. Krishna told very clearly in the Bhagavad Gita again, I am the beneficiary of all the yajnas, right? So that way, getting the remnants of the Krishna's thing is actually a great elevation. In fact, it's a great boon. It's not easy. And it's actually also boon for the giver also. It's not only for the receiver, but also for the giver, it's a blessing. And also the receiver, it's also blessing. So he guides, Nabhaga guides his son Nabhaga to go and assist in the yajna so that he can get also the spiritual wealth, which is in fact more than the material wealth also. So Shloka 6, can anyone help me, Prabhuji or Mataji? Please read this Shloka.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhuji, please. Thank you, Prabhu.
Tam kaschit svikariष्यान्तं Purusha Krishna Darshana Udvachottarato Bhyetya Mamedam Vastukam Vasu. Translation also, Prabhu? Translation
Yeah,
also,
please,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Thereafter, while Nabhaga was accepting the riches, a black-looking person from the north came to him and said, all the wealth from this sacrificial arena belongs to me. Hare Krishna. Bhoktaram
Thank you,
Yajnatapasam
Prabhuji.
Nikarveshwaram. I'm remembering that verse, Prabhu. Thank you for reading. Opportunity.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So here, thereafter, while Nabhaga was accepting the riches, so Nabhaga went, and he assisted the descendants of Angira Muni. And then, they were quite happy with him because he was able to, recite the hymns, he was able to support them. So they were quite happy. And they gave all the wealth that is collected, before going to heavenly planets. They gave all the wealth that is accumulated in the Yajna to Nabhaga. But then suddenly, some twist comes. What is the twist? Some black looking person from the north came to him and he said, hey, stop, Navaga. All the wealth from this sacrificial arena belongs to me. Who is this black looking person? Is it Krishna? Any guesses, Prabhuji and Matajis?
Shiva.
So actually, Srila Prabhupada says this is actually Lord Shiva in the disguise. And why Lord Shiva has to come? Because he want to test Nabhaga. He want to test Nabhaga in two ways. One is he want to test Nabhaga. What is his spiritual understanding with this act? Okay. And second thing is he also want to make him understand that this remnants actually this is material thing and there is something more beyond the materialistic thing that what he has to think of. So he want to test him how much he is really craving for that material wealth, or is he really a spiritual person? So he want to test. So Lord Shiva, he came in disguise and he tests him and he immediately says, all the wealth from the sacrificial arena, this actually belongs to me, not to you. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada, actually, if you see, this is a very dramatic intervention. In our life also, Professor Mataji, if we see, sometimes we plan so many things, but sometimes, it doesn't really go in that way. Sometimes suddenly something happens. I remember again one of my own exams, Professor Mataji. Actually, when we are doing this house grow pravesham, when we have planned for it first time, we have planned for a date, and I called up Lilananda Prabhuji, and I told him, Prabhuji, it is getting little difficult for my wife Padma, to go every day evening up to school to pick my younger one, at night 8 o'clock. It is getting very, very difficult. Though our house is not completely ready, but we want to do the grow pravation. We want to go, to the new house. Prabhuji said, okay, fine, Prabhuji, that is fine, I have no issue. Then he asked me the date, and I told some date, I do not remember now. And he immediately said, Prabhuji, that is when we are thinking of Bhumi Puja for the new temple. Then I said, Hare Krishna, Then it was like, Krishna, okay, I clearly understood. This is a plan of Krishna not to happen, so we will not do it. Sometimes this divine intervention comes in many, many different ways, and it is actually good for us. And later on, I thought that it is good because, at that point at time, if we would have really come to this new house, probably we would have faced a really lot of issues because there is nothing here. Even today, there are a lot of struggle because no one is there in the community except us. We are living alone here in the whole community. But, in the month of July, I can imagine how bad it would have been. So sometimes this divine intervention happens for a good reason. So Srila Prabhupada is telling this black man, who is actually Lord Shiva coming in disguise, he interrupted for Nabaga to take that wealth. This is actually for a good reason that we, probably find it difficult to understand why it is happening, but we should accept in our life divine interventions happen and these are happening for a good reason. Srila Prabhupada actually he emphasizes, this divine intervention. Especially he says Lord Shiva because he's showing he's actually Lord Shiva is a Krishna's representative. And as a Krishna representative, he has a claim what rightfully belongs to the Lord. Right? Why actually it is rightfully belong to the Lord? Because as I said, in the Bhagavad Gita again, Krishna clearly mentioned, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Subhradam Sarva Bhutanam Jnatva Mam Santim Vrachati. What does it say? Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, whatever the remnants of the Yajna, whatever is coming, a person in full consciousness, he knows I am the ultimate beneficiary of all the sacrifices and austerities. Everything finally, whatever is happening, I'm the final beneficiary. Any sacrifice you do, I'm the final beneficiary. So clearly Krishna told that, and Lord Shiva, he is actually being the, the highest Vaishnava. He is representing the Krishna here and rightfully claiming whatever the remnants are there, it actually belongs to me. So see how depth actually Srila Prabhupada really thinks and he gives this interpretation. So again, the key takeaway here from this sloka, Professor Mathas, this is very, very simple sloka. The key takeaway here is we should understand that we should welcome the divine intervention as opportunities for spiritual correction in our life and grow in the devotion. Again, all are very, very small slokas. Actually, in Bhagavatam also, there is not much purport there. So I try to prepare some link to the Bhagavad Gita and I'm trying to explain. Nothing more much to explain the slokas otherwise. So 9.4.7, probably I will try to read this. ममेदां ऋषिभिर्दत्तम् इतितार्हि स्म मानवः स्वानौ ते पितरि प्रश्नः प्रस्तवान् पितरं यथा. Translation. Nabaga then said, these riches belong to me. The great saintly persons have delivered them to me. When Nabaga said this, the black looking person replied, let us go to your father and ask him to settle our disagreement. In accordance with this, Nabaga inquired from his father. So, Prabhuji, here a few things. Again, it's a very, very straightforward. There is not much any complication also to understand. But there are a few interpretations what I have taken. We have to understand, the inquiry, the last what Nabaga inquired from his father. So he has actually accepted, though that the person, the black person, he's actually coming to a disagreement with him, but he actually Nabaga actually he submitted very humbly, telling that okay, let us go and talk to my father. Okay, why his father? Why Nabaga? He can go to some third person, right? Because that person knows, the black person, Lord Shiva, he knows that Nabaga is a very, very pious person, very, very learned person. Okay. And at the same time, Nabaga is none other than the father of Nabhaga. And if his father says something, his son will definitely listen. So that's the reason the black person, he also said, let us go to your father. Very, very cleverly he has put, right? So again, this mirrors actually Nabhaga's submissive questioning to his father, yielding transcendental guidance, right? Because whatever his father says, he's going to listen very clearly. And again, this refers always very clearly to Bhagavad Gita. Anything, whatever we speak, always there is a reference to Bhagavad Gita sloka. I completely believe in it. When I check what I can really refer here to Bhagavad Gita sloka, a very easy one, very famous one, Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tad viti pranipatena pariprishneena sevaya upadhyakshanti te jnana jnaninas tattva darshanaha. So what does it say? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena seva. Inquire submissively and rendering service. Inquire to your spiritual master. Here, who is the spiritual master for Nabhaga? Nabhaga, his own father is the spiritual master here. And Krishna clearly says, you have to inquire submissively, and that is what exactly Nabhaga here is doing. Very submissively, he is inquiring to understand if that wealth actually should belong to that black person or should belong to me. See the humbleness here of the Nabhaga. So here again, the key takeaway here is, we have to prioritize the scriptural authority. Why it is called a scriptural authority? Why we have to prioritize scriptural authority? Because though Nabhaga is a very learned person of the Vedas, because the black person said, this actually belongs to him, he did not shout on him or he did not fight with him. He, of course, said this belongs to me, but he did not fight with him. He did not argue also. He was actually still checking as per Vedic, our scriptures, what actually who has the right on this property. He want to settle it in a, very spiritually. He doesn't want to go, materialistically claiming for that wealth. Okay. And Prabhupada also telling cultivate pranipata. Pranipata. Pranipata means surrendering, questioning. We have to surrender and question. Okay. Then only, the divine wisdom can be unlocked. Professor Mataji, any questions here? Anyway, we finished almost half of the shlokas. There is any questions or clarifications required? Is everything okay? Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Prabhuji.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Okay. 9.4.8. यज्ञवास्तु गतं सर्वम् उच्छिष्टं रसय क्वचित् चक्रुर्हि भागं रुद्राय स देवः सर्वमर्हति. The father of Nabhaga said, whatever the great sages sacrifice in the arena of Daksha Yajna, they offer to Lord Shiva as his share. Therefore, everything in the sacrificial arena certainly belongs to Lord Shiva. See, Nabhaga, who is the father of Nabhaga, he is such a wise person. He already identified the black person is none other than the Lord Shiva. He clearly identified. And what is he telling? In the arena of the Daksha Yajna, if something is performed, it should go actually to Lord Shiva only. Right? So Lord Shiva has his share first. None other than, no other person, but only Lord Shiva should his share. See here, Professor Mathur, again, there are so many beautiful points that we can understand. Actually, Nabhaga, who is the father of Nabhaga, he has sent his son to get some wealth. Okay. But now, when some black person or the Lord Shiva is coming and telling that, hey, this belongs to me. Actually, Nabhaga can become, little, how to say, biased, or how can say, he can actually become more Putra Vatsalya. And he can say that, no, actually, it should belong to my son because he did actually participate in the yajna and you did not participate. But in those era, actually someone can see who is the person in disguise. And Nabhaka could identify he's none other than the Lord Shiva. And who is like, representing the Krishna here. So he should get his share. So he's a very, very nice person. Right? So he has clearly told this sacrificial remnants, because this is done in the arena of the Daksha Yajna, this should actually go to Lord Shiva. Shloka 9.4.9. Nabhagastam Nabhagastan pranamaya tavesha kila vastukam iti ahame pita brahman chirasatvam prasadaye. Translation. Thereupon, after offering obeisances to Lord Shiva, Nabhaga said, O worshipable Lord, everything in this arena of sacrifice is yours. This is the assertion of my father. Now, with great respect, I bow my head before you, begging your mercy. Professor Mataji, can we believe such things can happen in Kali Yuga? Or can we believe any one of us can really be that humble? Like, your father is coming and he's telling that, hey, that property actually should not belong to my son, but it should belong to you. And you accept that your father's, instruction, and you bow your head and humbly say that I'm okay with your advice. How many kids today can really accept such a type of, justice from father? It's a very, very, it's almost impossible thing can imagine that can happen in Kali Yuga, right? So again, the key essence here, Nabhaga shows reverence to Lord Shiva. He doesn't know he's a Lord Shiva, but just because his father said, he's acknowledging that, and in that sacrificial arena, actually everything belongs to Shiva. So he says that, okay, I don't deserve it, but actually you only deserve it. He's actually in a pathetic situation. He needs some property. He needs some money to survive. But even despite of all this situation, he accepts that father's justice, and he says, "Okay, let me hand over everything to you." With a great respect, he bows his head and hand overs everything to him. Right? This signals Nabhaga's respectful acceptance of spiritual truth and readiness for further teachings from Lord Shiva. Right? So Srila Prabhupada here again he stresses so much on the humility and reverence what actually Nabhaga is exhibiting to Lord Shiva. This sloka is actually exemplifying the supreme proprietor's role. So you see here, Krishna is actually playing everything in the background. He's actually watching everything. So Prabhupada actually stresses or exemplifies, the supreme proprietor's role behind all. Right? So what is the key takeaway here from this shloka? Can anyone tell what is one of the key takeaway that we should really understand from this shloka? Anything nice that you feel that, this is important that I can take it with me?
Following instructions of Guru Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, very, very nicely said. Yes. We have to follow the Guru's instructions, no matter whatever it is. Right? Sometimes we find it very, very difficult. Sometimes we find it not at all acceptable. But we have to just follow Guru's instruction. So in this case, the Guru of Nabhaga is actually his own father Nabhaga. That is how his father is revered and respected by his son. And just because his Guru said, this property should not belong to you, my son, it should belong to Lord Shiva, he immediately accepted without any discussion, without any argument. So why are we discussing so much about Nabhaga? See, the title card, it says that it's Ambarish Maharaj. But why are we discussing so much about Nabhaga? So Ambarish Maharaj has not even entered. It's only still that, how to say, the title cards are still going on. Ambarish Maharaj has to still enter. He will come in the later slokas. Why so much about Nabhaga? Why Krishna has put, so much in the Bhagavatam before talking about Ambarish Maharaj, so much of introduction he is giving about his father, Nabhaga. Because he want to make us, all of us understand what is the lineage, how spiritual family, how much spiritual family, Ambarish Maharaj is coming from. We want to make us all of us understand. Ambarish Maharaj is not an ordinary person. He is born to, again, a very, very great person called Nabhaga. And from that lineage, he has come and he became one of the most dearest devotee for Lord Sri Krishna. Right? So he wants us, all of us to understand. Yeah. Okay. So 9.4.10. यत्ते पिता वा धर्मं त्वं च सत्यं प्रभाषसे ददामि ते मन्त्रदशो ज्ञानं ब्रह्म सनातनम्. So Lord Shiva, he opens his mouth. He says, whatever your father has said is the truth, and you are also speaking the same truth. Therefore, I, who know the Vedic mantras, shall explain transcendental knowledge to you. See, this is how, that is where Srila Prabhupada says, in our childhood also, sometimes, when some elderly people comes, very, very respected people. I remember when I was around, I think around 12 years, not even 12, I think even lesser, maybe 10 years, around 9, 10 years. My grandfather, he used to invite very, very big people in the sense, not rich people, very, very pious people, very spiritual people. My grandfather also very, very pious person. He used to invite so many people. So just in front of our house, we used to have a big Shiva. And there was a big Ravi Chettu. I don't know how it is called in English. Ravi Chettu, very huge Ravi Chettu. And on that, below that Ravi Chettu, people used to sit, my grandfather used to sit, and he used to invite me, come and sit with us for some time. And they used to talk about several stories of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, about Lord Shiva and everything, so many stories. So I used to feel really boring at that time. I could not really enjoy at that point of time. These people are talking, but somewhere some stories used to be really nice, attractive, but some stories are like too much Vedanta for me at the time. But when we serve those people, I was always asked, go and get some buttermilk, go and get something for drinking, to all these pious people who are sitting there and discussing the Vedic topics. By serving them, I feel that their blessings are the one which actually helped me today come into Krishna consciousness. Probably otherwise, I would not have got the chance. I still remember Lilananda Prabhuji said in the very first class of the SSR, you all are sitting here today not because that you have done something and you have come here because you have done really something big in your life spiritually. Because there are people who are praying for you. There are your parents, or maybe your siblings, or maybe your good friends or relatives. Someone who is praying for you, and that is the reason today you all are sitting here. I remember it very nicely. Similarly, here when we serve, wise people, when we serve the pious people, when we serve our Guru, they give that knowledge, they give that blessings to us. So just like how Lord Shiva, he said, I am going to explain the transcendental knowledge to you. Why he is so convinced? Because he has seen that humbleness. He has seen that, how humble and how generously he is accepted to detach from that property. There is a very important lesson learned. He is actually desperate to get wealth, but just because he want to follow the Vedic rules, he simply, just because father said, no, that's not your property, you have to detach from it, he immediately accepted it. And the Lord Shiva was completely impressed by this. The Lord Shiva became so much impressed that he said, I am going to give you the transcendental knowledge to you. This is actually also the reason why Krishna says you have to serve very humbly to your Guru, because from your Guru you are going to get that highest knowledge what Lord Krishna has given to all of us. Right? Shloka 11. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.1. ग्रहानाद्राविणं दत्तं मत्सत्र परेशेषितम् इति उक्त्वा न तारहितो रुद्रो Bhagavan Dharma Vatsalaha. Lord Shiva said, now you take all the wealth remaining from the sacrifice, for I give it to you. After saying this, Lord Shiva, who is the most adherent to religious principles, disappeared from that place. See, Prabhuji Mataji, how nicely here Lord Shiva has reciprocated. Right? Lord Shiva came not really for that wealth. Why did he come? He want to test Nabaga how much actually spiritual person he is. He want to test Nabaga, at the same time he want to give us, all of us, this story to us that when someone is spiritual, we should also learn to detach. We might be acquiring lot of properties. We might be not happy with 2 BHK, we will go to 3 BHK. We will not be happy with 3 BHK. We'll go to a big house. Like that we probably might be accumulating wealth. But if the situation demands, we should be ready to get detached also. That attachment should not really be there. And he want to show through this story to all of us. So Lord Shiva came actually to test Nabaga, at the same time to teach a lesson to all of us also. Being a devotee, how we should behave. right? So again, there's a good reference in Bhagavad Gita here, Shloka 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktam otina matstani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. So why do we talk about it? Because actually Shiva, he is representing the Krishna here, and everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Maya tatam sarvam. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is provided. Everything is coming from me. All beings are coming from me. Right? Krishna is clearly telling here. But in spite of that, even Shiva here he is clearly showing the detachment. Right? Because Shiva is representing Krishna. And by Vedic principles, in fact, that remnants of the yajna should go to Shiva here. But still, Shiva is the highest Vaishnava, right? Right? So he immediately got detached from that property and he said, "Hey, Nabaga, you take this. I don't need it." Right? Though it belongs actually to me, but I'm ready to offer it back to you. Right? And as Shiva reciprocating Naba's humility, there is again another shloka in the same, chapter 4, very beautiful shloka. Ye yatha mam prapajyante tams tathaiva bhajami ham Mama Vattamanu Vattante Manushya Pad Sarvasaha. What does it mean? As all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Right? That's what Krishna said. That's what exactly what Lord Shiva is doing. Now, because Nabaga has surrendered to him, what did Shiva do? He rewarded him back accordingly. He rewarded him back all the property. So Krishna, see why we call Lord Shiva as the highest devotee or highest Vaishnava. Also because of these reasons. Because he follows Bhagavad Gita principles exactly. He is not attached. He is a perfect example of detachment, renunciation. If he has anything, what does he has? Nothing. He has only that ash covered his body, but otherwise he has no possessions. He's completely detached. And he's always in the meditation of Lord Vishnu. Completely he's in the meditation. He does nothing. That is why he is called highest devotee of Vishnu. Right? So the key takeaway here again, Professor Mataji, is surrender to the divine. When you are surrendering to the divine will and uphold dharma selflessly, the true wealth flows from humility and the truth, not greed. So we have to understand when you are surrendering to the divine, the true wealth actually flows out of humility. And this is clearly shown by Shiva here by giving up his claims for Krishna service, right? Shloka 12, we are quite fast. Yeah, okay. So Shloka 12. ये यथा संस्मरेत् प्रातः सायं च सुषामाहितः कविर्भवति मंत्रोज्ञो गतिं चैव तथा तथा मनः. Translation: If one hears and chants or remembers this narration in the morning and evening with great attention, he certainly becomes learned, experienced in understanding the Vedic hymns, and expert in self-realization. So, Professor Mataji, that's what we discuss now. Such a nice story when we get up early in the morning and we really memorize this story, and also with the hymns, we have got a lot of beautiful understanding how to renunciate, how to be humble. So many lessons learned that are there from this small story. And Sukadev Goswami is also telling this. If you get up early in the morning and chant this story, narrate this story in the early in the morning and also in the evenings, if you do this, you become an expert in self-realization. What is the purpose of my life? Why am I born? That is called self-realization, right? Who am I? You will be able to clearly understand all of these things. So 13 and 14, 15, just 3 slokas left. Sloka 9.4.13. Can anyone try to read this, Prabhuji or Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Shall I read?
Please, Mataji. Yeah, please, Mataji. Thank you, Pa.
Text 13. Nabhagad Ambarishah Bhun Mahabhagavatah Bhagavatah Krutena Sprushad Brahma Shapopi Yamna Pratihatah Kvachit. Translation. From Nabhaga, Maharaja Ambarisha took birth. Maharaja Ambarish was an exalted devotee. celebrated for his great merits. Although he was cursed by an infallible Brahmana, the curse could not touch him.
Thank you very
Shall I
much,
read
Mataji.
text
Hare
14?
Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Very good. 13 is sufficient, Mataji. So again, Prabhupada
Okay.
Mataji, so the real person has entered now, finally. From Nabhaga, Maharaj Ambarisha took birth. Okay, so before the hero enters, there is always some story to, before to glorify the hero. So Nabhaga was glorified so much, and from that glorification comes the real hero, Ambarish Maharaj. So why Ambarish Maharaj is so much glorified in the Bhagavatam? Because he is a person whose eyes are actually craving only to see the Lord's deities. His ears are craving only to hear the Lord's glories. His tongue is craving only to chant the holy names. His hands are craving to clean the temples. His mind is completely occupied remembering the Lord's lotus feet. So such a person, such an exalted devotee is not an ordinary person that we can find, anyone, anywhere. So this verse is actually introducing Ambarish Maharaj to all of us and clearly exemplifying, telling that, total sensory engagement is necessary in Bhakti Yoga, right? So Srila Prabhupada, for this small shloka, he has given some, beautiful explanation. He says, this is actually a practical application of Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam. That means freedom from material designations by engaging senses in service. So what is the freedom from material designation? What is the designation here of Amrish Maharaj? Because he is the king of the complete planet. That is his designation. But is he really attached to it? No. He still put all his senses not on the material wealth, but only on Lord. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is clearly emphasizing here. And a few more topics, Srila Prabhupada, what he emphasized here is, Professor Matha, we all have to understand how, as a Grihastha, also, we can take care to come into Krishna consciousness. How we can take care to focus more and more our senses into the Lord. Because typically many people think that, when they're so rich people do not really, they are not at all humble, they are not really bothered about the God. But here, Srila Prabhupada is clearly exemplifying, telling that even though you are grostha, even though you are accumulating wealth, but you can still focus all your senses on the Lord. He is clearly stressing, Srila Prabhupada clearly stressing, the sense control is not an artificial renunciation, but it's a natural engagement in the service of the Lord. If you are trying to control the senses, it's never possible. That's what Bhagavad Gita also says, right? So it should be a natural engagement in the higher taste. So this verse is actually setting as a model for all devotees like us, who are trying to walk in our life into the Krishna consciousness. 9.4.14 Sri Rajovacha Bhagavan Shrotum Ichchami Rajarishis Tasya Dhimataha Na Prabhudyatra Nirmukto Brahmadando Duratyayaha. So King Parikshit inquired, O great personality, Mahaparisha was certainly most exalted and meritorious in character. I wish to hear about him. How surprising it is that the curse of a Brahmana, which is insurmountable, could not act upon him. So Parikshit Maharaj is more and more curious to know about Ambarish Maharaj. In the previous shloka, actually Ambarish Maharaj was glorified just to control the senses. But Parikshit Maharaj is asking, inquiring more and more. And he's telling that, please explain me more. I want to understand more about Maharaj Ambarish. And clearly he's telling, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, his words are always utilized in glorifying the Lord's qualities. His hands only in the cleaning of the temple. His ears, eyes, body, nose is smelling only the fragrance of tulsi offered to the Lord. Tongue is tasting only the prasad. His legs are utilized only to go to the holy places. His head is always bowing down to the Lord. His desire is always to serve the Lord constantly. This much explanation Sukadeva Goswami has to give to please Parishit Maharaj. So much of explanation, so much Parishit Maharaj enjoy to listen more and more about Ambarish Maharaj. Right? So why Sukadeva Goswami is telling so much of, his sense control and all these things to Parishit Maharaj? Because in Bhagavad Gita again, Krishna clearly says, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridhavrataha Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nityayukta Upasate. Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, who is constantly chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. All these people are, actually the great souls who are trying to worship me with great devotion. Krishna is clearly telling these are the indications of great devotees who are perfectly occupied in my devotion. So Ambarish Maharaj is exhibiting exactly the same what Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna also says, if you are engaging your mind in me, you try to engage your mind in me. Okay, I think probably I will ask this question to all of you, Professor Mataji, because Gita Jayanti, we read Bhagavad Gita very recently throughout all the shlokas we read, right? So if anyone of you remember, try to tell me which shloka it is, where Krishna says, try to engage your mind in me, and if it is not possible, at least work for me. Very nice shloka is there. You try to engage your mind in me, but for some people it is not possible. But then in that case, you work for me. Slowly, 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 you will understand me and you will become able to engage your mind in me.
యత్ కరోషి యత్ అస్నాషి ప్రభు.
యత్ కరోషి
12.
జిజ్ఞాసి.
లేదు, ఇంకోటి ఉంది యాక్చువల్ గా.
ఇంకోటి ఉంది మాతాజీ. చాప్టర్
9 పాయింట్ సంథింగ్. ఐ కాంట్
వస్తుంది.
రికలెక్ట్. వెరీ బ్యాడ్ విత్
చాప్టర్ 12 వస్తుంది అది.
12.
This is not
Yeah.
actually that famous sloka also. This is not found in that 108 list of slokas also. Ata chittam samadhotam na saknoshi mai stiram abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya. So he says, Atta chittam samadhotam means, if you're not able to engage in me, it's very difficult for you to focus your mind on me. Don't worry. Just follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you'll develop a desire to attain me. So, Professor Mataji, this is actually applicable to a person like me. The moment I touch my beanbag and I sit on meditation, chanting in the morning, Hare Krishna mantra, I find it very, very, very difficult. All thoughts come, what I don't want to think, they will populate my mind completely. So the best advice here, Krishna has given persons like me very, very clear. Okay,
This
follow the
sloka is
regulative
important to slokas,
principles.
Prabhuji.
Follow the regulative-
In 108 list, it is there.
Is sorry, Prabhuji.
In 108 important slokas list, this Bhagavad Gita sloka comes under 89th
This is
sloka.
there, Prabhuji. Acha,
Yes.
acha. Very, very nice. Yeah. So, I really loved when I was reading through the Bhagavad Gita recently, on the occasion of Gita Jayanti. I noted it down, especially to tell in our satsangs also, because I know some of the satsang devotees have also issue. They come to the satsangs, they do every service to the Lord Krishna, whatever I ask, they will do it. But people struggle to chant. I request Prabhuji, at least one round mala you can start with. They feel that, they are not able to do it at all. But any service you ask, they will be able to do. Any difficult task also they will be able to do. So this sloka is actually, it gives a clear reference. And I found it so relevant to us that, we are not able to focus on Krishna completely. But, the more and more and more we chant, slowly, step by step, we start developing the love for Krishna. And this is true. On the first day, my love for Krishna to date, my love for Krishna, it has how it is. If at all something has increased, it is only because of the chanting. Right? Yeah, again, the takeaway here is Professor Mataji's. We are almost close. There is only one more sloka left. So the takeaway here is engaging all the senses in service Krishna is important. Even if it is not possible, don't worry. We just need to, kind of continue with our responsibilities by following the regulative principles. And some or other day, we will be able to become a devotee of Krishna. At the moment, we are, most of us, especially me, is a practicing devotee, right? So we came to the last sloka. Yeah. So here it is like two slokas combined, 15 and 16. I will try to read it. Sri Sukha Uvacha Ambarisho Mahabhagaha Saptadvipavitam Mahim Avyayam cha Ashriyam Labdva Vibhavam Chatulam Bhuvi Mene Ati Durlabham Pumsam Sarvam Tat Swapna Samstutam Vidwan Vibhava Nirvana Tamo Vishati Yat Puman. Sukadeva Goswami said, Maharaj Ambarish, the most fortunate personality, achieved the rule of the entire world consisting of 7 islands and achieved inexhaustible, unlimited opulence and prosperity on earth. Although such a position is rarely obtained, Maharaj Ambarish did not care for it at all, for he knew very well that all such opulence is material. Like that which is imagined in a dream, such opulence will ultimately be destroyed. The king knew that any non-devotee who attains such opulence merges increasingly into material's nature mode of darkness. So this sloka 15 and 16 clearly, they remove all the Maya. Once we understand it, we will be get rid of all the Maya. So whatever we are trying to cultivate from the day one to the day n, the day n is the day we die. Whatever we accumulate all the material wealth, we as a devotee, we all should understand, or we all understand that nothing is completely always with us. At certain point, we will get rid of it and we have to leave everything and we have to take in another body. So nothing comes with us. So having understood this Ambarish Maharaj, his desire for this material wealth is zero. Though he has everything, and he is, in the translation, it is clearly mentioned, he is the ruler of the entire world consisting of 7 islands. What are those 7 islands? These are the 7 continents, right? 7 continents. That's why he is the ruler of the entire world. Though he has the complete opulence, but still he was never attached to anything of it. And he knows very clearly that someone who is like a non-devotee, only non-devotee is attached so much, right? Otherwise, a devotee clearly understands. So a non-devotee clearly understood it, and if someone doesn't understand this, that person will slowly sink into the tamoguna mode of darkness, right? So here, just to conclude here, Professor Mataji, Ambarish Maharaj is presented as an ideal devotee, a king, materially prosperous but yet spiritually detached. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that opulence is not condemned. So, as Srila Prabhupada also clearly hints, accumulating wealth is not never a problem if that provided that opulence is utilized in Krishna's seva. When used in the service to Krishna, any opulence is not condemned. But you have, hundreds of crores, but you are not utilizing any of the opulence for the Krishna service, then that is not okay. But if you're utilizing that opulence for Krishna seva, that is completely okay. I remember this, in our, what is this, Bhakti Shastri. I don't remember, my memory is not that good, but there are slokas where we clearly read in the Nectar of Instructions that we have to accumulate wealth such a way that 50% of our income, out of 100%, 25% we have to dedicate to the Krishna Seva. And 25%,
Pratyahara prayasascha.
50% for the Krishna Seva, right, Mataji?
Pratyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha. So Rupa Goswami has given, like, by his own example, he's shown that 50% he has used it for Krishna Seva
Yeah,
and
50% for
Vaishnavas,
Krishna Seva, 25%
25%
for
for
relatives,
emergencies, and
and
25% for
25% for
relatives.
emergencies, correct? Right? So that is actually a perfect devotee. If someone is not following this, then he is not really a devotee. So we can ask ourselves, sometimes, am I really a devotee or am I not a devotee? There are always different metrics how we can measure, right? Different metrics are given by our acharyas in different ways. So this is one of the metric where we can, benchmark, where we can see ourselves, test ourselves. Am I really a devotee? Am I really utilizing 50% of Krishna Seva? Right? When IVCC temple is come, when donations were asked to collect, many of our Prabhujis and Matajis in our satsangs, they have given generously a lot of big donations. But are we really able to give 50% of our incomes today? Are we really doing it very sincerely? Are we really keeping only 25% for our family, 25% for emergencies? Are we really doing this? So if we ask ourselves, then we will understand. Am I really a practicing devotee or am I really a devotee? right? So again, this verse actually gives actually a lot of learnings. Also, it says this verse is setting the stage for the famous episode with Durvasa Muni, showing how devotion protects even against powerful adversaries. I mean, in the next slokas, whoever is going to continue with the Bhagavatam, the next sloka, he is going to tell, how devotion will protect you even from the greatest powerful adversaries. Because Durvasa Muni, he is a very, very big person. He is such a big person, no one can dare to really, to counter him. But Ambarish Maharaj, because of his devotion, he was able to counter him, right? So again, a person in full conscious of Krishna and who is fully devoted will be definitely taken care by Krishna without any doubt, right? So just to conclude, why Ambarish Maharaj is such a way glorified. Also in Bhagavad Gita, there is a very nice sloka here. Yad yad achariti sreshta tada devataro jana sayat pranamam kurte lokastad anuvartate. Because Ambarish Maharaj set an example. Yad yad achariti sreshta. Sreshtas like Ambarish Maharaj. What are the examples they are setting? The lokastad anuvartate, the total world will automatically follow him. So are we able to follow? Are we not able to follow? And if you are not able to follow, at least by learning through such Bhagavatam stories, we should able to understand and put our sincere attempt to follow such great pious people. And the real turnaway, the takeaway here today is true fortune is not the material opulence, but the devotion to Krishna is the true opulence. Right? From the Nabhaga, we have to clearly understand the material wealth is not the true opulence, but the real opulence is the spiritual wealth. Because Nabaga is also focused more on the spiritual Vedic rites more than the material wealth, right? That is the key takeaway from this slokas, Prabhupada Mataji. So with this, I conclude. This is the slide. I'm a fan of AI that is coming very recently popular. I created this image out of the AI. I just gave the chapter name Ambarish Maharaj offended by Durvasa Muni. I tried to check how that image would be created, and I found it very nicely. It is created. I used a very regular AI tool only. I didn't use any, popular. I used the Microsoft Copilot. It is created very beautiful image. I really liked it. So with this, I take your blessing, Prabhuji Mataji. I take your permission to conclude here. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any clarifications, any discussion points, please feel free to discuss.
Guruji, just one addition.
Yes, Mataji,
Um,
please.
like when we are talking of such exalted personalities who are ruling the entire earthly planet, అంటే భూలోక అని అంటున్నారు కదా. Actually that bhuloka, as per the fifth canto, is not just this earth, not just this planet that we are seeing. Actually it's an entire entire planetary system of bhuloka. Danny
Correct, correct.
Priyavrat Maharaj with his sun chariot, he had actually divided them into seven dvipas. Dvipas ante tract of lands which are with water on either side. అంటే రెండు వైపులా అప్పుడు ద్వీప అవుతుంది. సో
Correct, correct, correct.
ప్రియవ్రత్ మహారాజ్ అలాగే డివైడ్ చేశారు. అప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ ఏమో సాల్ట్ ఓషన్, నెక్స్ట్ ఏమో షుగర్ కేన్ ఓషన్, తర్వాత లిక్కర్ ఓషన్, బటర్ మిల్క్ ఓషన్, ఘీ ఓషన్, అట్లా అట్లా తయారయ్యాయి అన్నమాట.
Acha, acha.
seven
Acha, acha. Okay, okay.
oceans.
Understood.
So when they are referring that these Parikshit Maharaj and or Ambarish Maharaj, they are ruling the Bhuloka, they are ruling this entire thing. ఇందులో మధ్యలో
Oh.
ఉన్నది యాక్చువల్గా మధ్యలో ఉన్నది దట్ ఈస్ జంబూ ద్వీప. ఆ జంబూ ద్వీపాన్ని మళ్ళీ దేర్ ఆర్ 9 divisions which are done. The lowest division, lower most is actually మన భారత వర్ష. ఆ భారత వర్షలో కూడా మళ్ళీ 9 divisions ఉన్నాయి. ఆ 9th division లో చిన్న పోర్షన్. సో మనం ఎర్త్ ఈస్ యాక్చువల్లీ అ వెరీ మినిస్క్యూల్ పోర్షన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎంటైర్ భూలోక. సో that was just the addition, not very significant, but just
Understood, Mataji. Then a very, very clear, I could in fact create an image, what you are telling, Mataji. Very nicely said. When Prabhupada mentioned in the translation world, So I assumed world means typically, the world where we are living in. So, and it was coincidentally matching also to the 7 continents. So that is how I
Because
interpreted it.
when he mentioned the since he mentioned the islands,
Islands,
so
Dvipas,
our
yeah.
continents are actually not islands. If you see that they're connected, and originally also they were just one, even if we think of millions of years ago, this was one whole land, which later drifted
Yes.
and it became continents. But some continents are connected, they are not really islands.
Yeah.
So
North
when they
America, South America,
specifically
especially. Yeah.
ఎప్పుడైతే వాళ్ళు ఐలాండ్స్ అని అంటారో మనకు అర్థమైపోతుంది ఏంటంటే దే టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ద ఎంటైర్ భూలోక వేర్ యాక్చువల్లీ దీస్ వేర్
Bholoka.
ఐలాండ్స్. రెండు వైపులా కూడా వాటికి దే హ్యావ్ దీస్ ఓషన్స్ అన్నమాట. అండ్ మధ్యలో ఉన్నది ట్రాక్ట్ ఆఫ్
Understood.
ల్యాండ్. జంబూద్వీప ఇస్ ద సెంట్రల్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ దట్ అని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను, నాకు కూడా తెలీదు. ఐ జస్ట్ థాట్ ఐ జస్ట్
Making
యాడ్ దట్.
sense, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mataji. Making sense. Thanks a lot. Any other things, Professor Mataji? No, that is the beauty of, association in a satsang. We all will have our own interpretations, and when we do the discussions, we learn really a lot. So I'm very, very fortunate, Mataji, for a very beautiful explanation from your side, how you interpreted this translation from Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Actually, we should never interpret, Prabhuji. We should only speak what we have heard. మనము ఇంటర్ప్రిటెడ్ వర్డ్ అంటే చాలా దానికి ఒక డబుల్ ఎడ్జ్ స్వోర్డ్ ఉంది యాక్చువల్గా. ఇంటర్ప్రిటెడ్ మీన్స్ ఐఎమ్ పుట్టింగ్ మై ఓన్ థాట్స్ ఇన్ టు ఇట్ అండ్ ఐఎమ్ saying something that I understood with my understanding. But in our parampara, we should only be talking about like what
our
we
Gurus
heard,
told.
what our gurus have said, without interpreting. We could give practical examples which
Sure.
which match with the preaching application is always the preaching references where that is already established through the various scriptures references. Andukane Prabhupada in his purport also, purport is actually not an interpretation, but purport is actually an explanation of the preaching and practical application. So when we are writing Bhakti Shastri, they have always this open-ended
Yes.
questions. Write a preaching application, write a practical application. Because Prabhupada has practically done that. In preaching application, what he has done is that అన్ని డిఫరెంట్ ఇప్పుడు భాగవతం నుంచి, కథ ఉపనిషత్ నుంచి, శ్వేతేశ్వర ఉపనిషత్ నుంచి, బ్రహ్మ వైవర్త పురాణ నుంచి, అట్లాగే he is referred wherever he has taken shlokas. Mostly he is taken from Bhagavatam and the Katha Upanishad and stuff like that. So Abhi he is specifically mentioned each shloka in Tisnam, for example, for explaining this particular verse, he's taken and then he's mentioned that anmata. And for practical application, he's given practical examples like in today's day, etla avutondi communist వాళ్ళు ఇలా చేస్తున్నారు, or today's families ఎలా చేస్తున్నాయి, or how the regulator principles are being broken, things like that. For that, he will give the practical applications, which are the real-time examples of what we are seeing and what we are realizing. సో ఆ విధంగా మనం ఎప్పుడు కూడా దాంట్లో అసలు మనము ఇంటర్ప్రిటేషన్ అనే వర్డ్ వాడితే మనకు చాలా డేంజరస్ అది యాక్చువల్గా. ఎందుకంటే డెఫినెట్లీ వీఆర్ పుట్టింగ్ అవర్ మైండ్ ఇన్ టు ఇట్. ప్లీజ్ ఫర్గివ్ మీ ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ స్పీకింగ్ ఎనీథింగ్ రాంగ్ ఆర్ ఎనీథింగ్, ప్రభుజీ. ఎందుకంటే మనం ఇలా వింటే మనం కూడా ఇదే వర్డ్స్ మళ్ళీ మనం యూజ్ చేస్తాము. అప్పుడు మీ ఇంటర్ప్రిటేషన్, అండ్ అప్పుడు the impression that we are giving is actually Prabhupada interpreted.
Yeah, we put our own thoughts. Understood, clear.
Prabhupada never interpreted anything. Prabhupada only spoke what acharyas have spoken. And when we read Bhagavatam and when we read other acharyas commentaries, then we'll understand exactly what he spoke is what he heard. And that's what he also, Bhagavatam also says the same thing. Starting lo epudaithe Bhagavatam is being spoken by Sutta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya. So Naimisharanya sages also are telling Sutta Goswami that since you have heard in the assembly of Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, you have heard Bhagavatam. Meer ela vinnaru exactly alaga maaku cheppandi. So Sutta Goswami named exactly how I have heard and how
the same
how
thing
I
is again
have understood.
reciprocated. Yes.
Because they are pure devotees, వాళ్ళకి ఇంకా అనర్థాస్ ఏమీ లేవు కాబట్టి ఇంటర్ప్రిటేషన్ క్వశ్చన్ ఉండదు. ఎందుకంటే కంటామినేషన్స్ తో మనం ఏదైతే ఆలోచిస్తాం, ఇప్పుడు మనం ఉన్నాం అనుకోండి, definitely
No.
we are subject to interpretation, because మన మన subtle body is still not free of anarthas, మన mind is still full of anarthas. సో మనకు అర్థమయ్యేది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, అందులో చెప్పేది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. సో అందుకని మనం ఎప్పుడు ఓన్లీ రిపీటే చేయాలి, వాట్ ఐ హర్డ్ అండ్ వాట్ ఐ రియలైజ్డ్. అది. హరే
Clear,
కృష్ణ.
Mataji.
సారీ ప్రభుజీ, ప్లీజ్
Thank you, Mataji. Thanks for making me understand. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there is no further reflections here, Professor Mataji, then thank you very much for attending this session. So the real hero story will be continued in the next Bhagavatam class. Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So with this, I close the session.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, wonderful class, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mulligishn Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that Jnana Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.